is an open Bible and an ambassador of Christ.
He is a reflection of love, faith, and hope.
I saw the light which has come out of his eyes.
Mano is a crucified little Christ.
My name is Emmanuel Gali. I am 27 years old, and most people usually call me Mano.
When I first became pregnant on October 1983, I wished that I have a boy. God gave me the verse of the virgin will conceive and have a child, and it will be named Emmanuel in Matthew. So I called him Emmanuel. He was growing in Christian atmosphere, and he was not brilliant in the school, but he was different. Just for example, we had a nun from my school. She came over because she was traveling to Sudan for the refugees, and she was collecting toys and everything. So I gave her some toys, Mano's toy that he is already not using. He went to his very precious toy and he gave it to her. And she said, no, I'm not taking your toys. I'm taking some of your toys that you don't use because we want to bless other children. I mean, how much he was a giving child. He is giving since he was a child, and he didn't understand that. He was just doing that by nature. His father, he wants him to be an engineer like him, and he wanted him to be brilliant in his studies. But this was not my intention. I wanted him to be a man of God, not educated, but in a smooth way. I didn't fight for him to be the brilliant or on the top of his class. It doesn't mean for me anything. But I tried to do all my best to help him in doing his homework. Actually, I was doing the homework, and I was in the parent council even after Mano left the school. They were asking me to come. So I was so helping the school, not only for Mano. Well, for Mano was one big issue, but for helping the school in the matter of having a Christian life for the children. So as a parent council, so I had the right to go into the classes, and I had the right to bring some videotapes about a super book. It was talking about the Bible. I bring this videotape free for the school, and I put it and I explain to the children, and I help him in Christmas, and I do the decoration. Everybody was thinking that I was working in the school. So this was helping the school, and on the same time they are taking care of Mano. Nobody can hit him. Nobody can do any harm to Mano because he is my son.
As an only child, my parents gave me their utter attention ever since I was a little boy. So when I was a little boy, I was in a French school, and we used to live in a place called Heliopolis. It's in Egypt, and my school was in downtown. So we had to move to downtown in order for me to be very close to the school. And then when I was in middle school, I actually switched schools from an all-French school to an all-American high school. So we had to move again. The school was in Maari, so we had to move again from downtown to Maari. These, for the people who are not familiar with Egypt, these are the two ends of Egypt, yes. Heliopolis and Maari, and downtown is in the middle, so they're very, very far apart. So we had to move to Maari, and that's in order for me to be close to the school. And then after I finished high school, I went to my local campus, Ground University here in Egypt, in also in downtown, American University in Cairo. And that we didn't move after I went to the university. We didn't move. We stayed in Mari.
He didn't drink any juice with preservative, since this is not in Egypt. So I tried to get it from everywhere, just to let him drink juice without preservatives. So people were saying that I'm crazy. For me, an overcare is not only physically. Overcare is mentally, is emotionally. And the most of this, that at 11 years, I sent him in a camp with the church. He was crying like crazy. He didn't want to go. But I intended to do that. I want him to be away of me and to take care of himself, to see other people, because he's the only child. And other things that I intended to take him with me abroad. From 11 months, I took him to New York. And afterward, he was 6 years, I took him to Paris and Chicago and Los Angeles. And I left him go to the airplane by himself, not with me, just go on the stairs by himself. There is a little point, a marginal point, that if I take care of him, on the same time I leave him make his decision. And I leave him all the freedom to have his own life. I'm not interfering at all. And he felt that. And he has his own life because I needed him a man, not a follower. Taking care is not just taking away his personality. Of course not.
About my high school, I was very social between my friends, and I was very friendly with the teachers, more specifically, not more with the students when I was in schools. But after I went to university, I became very sociable in the university. I was actually in the public relations in the Students' Union. I also had 3 other activities in some school clubs in the university. One of them was the Society of Automotive Engineers. I remember very well. I was also in the public relations sector. And the other was a technology course. It was like a computer science club. It used to be called Eyes on Technology, and I was the technical engineer of the club because of my computer abilities.
Okay. And from the sports side, what kind of sports that you loved or you got trained on during your lifetime?
I used to play sports as a child, like I used to play soccer, and but I actually started to go to the gym ever since I was 16, till the date of the accident, which I was about 19 and 5 months exactly, the date of the accident. So I was actually going to the gym ever since I was 16 years old. At least, I think, 4 days a week.
Wow, that's a lot. So could you tell us what are the main things that shaped your personality at that time?
By character of being a friendly young man or a friendly boy, I used to go to a lot of trips outside of Egypt. I went to the States, I think, 3 times. And I went on my own with a camp, a Christian camp in Lebanon when I was 16. And also when I was 18, I went to England as a camp on my own. These are the camps outside of Egypt. Throughout my teenager year and early childhood, I also used to go to a Christian camp every year, at least twice. Once we used to have that in the winter, and the other time was in summer. And that helped creating my personality because I used to interact with a lot of people all the time. And as a friendly young man as well, I used to help a lot of people, and I had no problems to help a lot of people. And whenever we had work duties in a camp, I was very eager to help. And that created in me a leadership personality, more to speak. And I used to take a lot of leadership responsibilities, and I used to like to. to lead people and to direct people, and that came by time.
He was in a Christian family, but he didn't have a self-testimony. He didn't meet with God really, but just growing in a Christian family. But he wasn't committed to God. There is a big difference between his relation before the accident and his relation now.
As a Christian young man, and by birth and by name, and my parents were believer Christians, I used to go to church, so I knew a lot about God. So I knew who God is and how he deals with his people. But I never really had a close personal relationship with God, which I knew was necessary in order to have a true Christian life, but I thought that I don't really need it. So God for me was someone who created me and someone that I feared greatly, but I didn't want to get to know him because I was really afraid from him. And I know that the more I had the wrong perception, that I thought that the more that you know God and the more that you become holy, but I knew the more that you know God, the more the severe the punishment is. So I didn't want to approach from God, fearing this. No one actually told me this, but this is a perception that I had. God for me was someone that is present in church and in camps, in Christian camps only. Didn't know that you can daily have a personal, close fellowship with Christ. So I used to pray and read in the Bible only when there used to be a problem, whenever I'm sick or I had an exam. Apart from having a camp, which usually spend like 3 to 4 days or maximum a week. The last camp that I went to, actually I spent 2 months. So that was the longest period that I read the Bible in. Okay. But on the normal level in Egypt, when you go to camps, that was the one in England, it was for 2 months. But the ones in Egypt, maximum 3 or 4 days the camp, and that was the time that I read in the Bible. Otherwise, the Bible was only read whenever there is an exam or when I'm sick.
So what was your main motive at that time? Why did you go to church? Why did you go to the church camps?
As a Christian young man living in an Eastern society, it's very normal for a Christian young man in my age to go to church and to have church activities. Because I'm Christian by birth, so I had to go to church, even though sometimes I didn't want to, but it's what we do, so I had to do it. So I used to go to church. I used to have some church activities within the church. Like, for example, sometimes I was behind the camera, sometimes I was in the choir at church, sometimes because I knew a lot about computers, so I will handle any technological issue at church.
So that was Mano's life until 2003, and we have seen how Mano grown from his childhood until his early age in college, and what was his aspects of life in terms of sports, academic, and university.
So wait for us next time. We will be discovering a lot more about Mano's life, the tragic incident that happened to him in November 2003. So follow us and be waiting for us. God bless. Bye.